What is the worst cricket ground in the world?
The Wacker. We've already discussed this. Haven't we done this?
The Wacker doesn't exist anymore.
That's why I had it annihilated. He knows how much I hate
The
it.
Gabba is worse than the Wacker.
I hate the Gabba too.
The Gabba's going as well.
Yeah. It's funny, all these grounds I always slagged off.
Wacker, Gabba, Eden Park.
I've never done Eden Park. Is it bad?
For tests, well, it's not a cricket ground. They're playing on a rugby ground.
Yeah, that's not ideal, is it?
Yeah.
But it's somehow it kind of works in white ball cricket. But
One of
test
the
cricket,
great lines from our dear friend Darren Goff, Eden Park, when they come in, they bowled all over the show one morning, wides, him and Mullally and all that. Sat down in the changing room at lunchtime, he said, this outfield's out of line. The outfield's out of line, not the pitch, the outfield's out of line. It's not in line. In line with what?
I mean, the pitch kind of looks like the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, it's tiny as well, isn't it?
Well, one of well, depending if it's a right hand, like fine leg can be about 15 yards away. So there's three.
I think there's some
We're in
grounds.
this country, we're in England.
Well, Wantage Road can be a bit challenging. I'm not, but yeah, I mean, it has improved, Wantage Road, but it used to be the football ground as well.
Yeah.
Northampton Town played football on it. And if you were fielding down at third man or at fine leg, and it was round about football season, where the grass was about that long, you had to search for the ball. Where is it? It's round here somewhere. They've run 7.
You must have played in some interesting outgrounds.
Yeah, there's Wantage Road. Bramall Lane, Sheffield, was a football ground as well.
Yeah.
Where else had played? We used to Bath. Bath was that a rugby ground as well. So you had dual grounds. You had football and cricket grounds.
What about not just for playing? I mean, for watching as well.
What do you think of Cardiff?
Oh, I'm not a big fan of Cardiff.
There's something. The stands are out of bounds or out of line or
It's
whatever
out of
it
line.
was. Goffey
It's out of
said
line.
Because you look at it and it's like the stands are all built not for the cricket.
I mean,
there's something about
and
it
again, you
that gives
think
me a headache.
Sophia Gardens was lovely, but it's on the same site, isn't it? And it's changed somewhat. And we had a wonderful ground at Swansea. The Mumbles ground at Swansea was absolutely fabulous. Where you come down the stairs, there must have been 80 steps from the pavilion onto the pitch itself. And again, that was a rugby ground to the side of it, right next to the sea. And that was a beautiful ground, lovely ground. Sophia Gardens has a real ring to it, but it's what was it called? Something with the electricity board.
Swalex?
Swalex Stadium.
Swalex Stadium, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any terrible English grounds.
What about in India?
Oh, what about Durham?
I was going to
Oh,
say.
no, come
I was
on.
going to say Chester Street.
I'm not having that.
do
I'm
you know-
not having that. Chesterley Street is fantastic. Lumley Castle in the
But,
background.
yeah,
the fair.
if you're not, but hang on, if you're not looking, if you're in the stand
If you're facing the other
and you're
way.
facing the other way, and the castle's behind you, and that wind is coming in, and there's not really.
You're
that
going to
much
be
look at.
criticising Headingley next. Headingley's
not.
fabulous.
I'm not.
Working class. It's working class.
I've got no problem with working
Leeds.
class.
It's great. History of it all, fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't mention Old Trafford. World-class
no.
stadium.
I
I
like
can
Old
see
Trafford.
where you're going.
I
Can
like
I-
Old Trafford.
Good.
can I-
We're getting that established.
Can I say?
But when I first
can I
started my
say-
career, they had that crappy press box on the side. At Old
Can I say
Trafford.
one thing about Old Trafford? No, actually, I'm not going to say that.
Be careful.
That's what I'm not going to say. I think the Western Terrace of 2019, they knew that Stokes was going to do what Stokes was going to do way before anybody else did. There's something about that terrace. The Holly Stand is the best stand in
Western Terrace, Holly
cricket.
Stand.
Holly Stand
Yeah.
is
Party stand at
way,
Old Trafford.
way above anything.
Yeah.
Old
The temporary
Trafford.
stand at Old Trafford.
I'm sorry, but
Permanent
that,
temporary stand.
Yeah, walking under that on a match day.
well, you don't do
It's
that.
the worst thing.
Because
if you,
that's a long way from the toilets. If
Yeah.
you're up there and you've had 7 pints and you're faced with
I
that
don't know
walk
what
all
leaks
the
on
way
me, but I
down.
don't want to walk under
Well,
it.
My pals were on the back row
You
of
don't,
the
do
party
you?
stand,
You were
and they've got a bobby too, these mates of mine, and they thought it was fantastic. They
All-
said it was brilliant.
All I'm saying is you're faced with a choice. And when you're faced with a choice, when 100 men are faced with a choice,
The greatest ground in the world, I'll tell you, in my opinion, the greatest cricket ground in the world, Scarborough.
yeah, but we're not doing the greatest, we're doing the worst.
Yeah.
What's the
Scarborough.
worst? I mean, there's some real
I'll,
dog.
I will say that very
Solution.
seriously.
It's the
Oh, that's
facilities.
not the
facilities.
I mean, God.
You're in a great place.
What's the worst caviar?
Hey? No, but you're in
St. Lucia.
You're thinking about the city.
Antigua.
That is the worst. Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, sorry, friend of the show, but that is the worst ground in the world.
Oh, see, I don't
No,
think
you're absolutely
no,
right.
tell me why.
Because it's in the middle of bloody nowhere.
If that's the case,
nobody goes.
there's heaps of
Were
grounds
you
like
not
that.
there in 2009?
Yeah.
Anywhere
No,
in
I wasn't.
Dubai.
2009. I mean, it's made of sand.
Ask Katie about going to a game in Dubai and trying to get an Uber home. It's literally like you're stuck in the middle of nowhere waiting for people to come and get you. But, so, okay, the Dubai Stadium's 10 times better than the St. Lucia Stadium. The St. Lucia facilities are really, really poor.
What about Dambulla?
So what do we talk... Dambulla?
What about the SCCC?
Yeah, it's not great.
Worst.
I was thinking about
You're
one.
talking about conditions.
The one thing I would want in all these, when
Solution's
you
not
go
even-
abroad, you go into some places, and the one thing I want, it's got to be clean. It has to be clean. From a media perspective and from a changing rooms perspective. And sadly, there are plenty that aren't. They're not.
See, if you're just doing your thing before them in the middle of the nowhere, there's a bunch in India. So the ground in Pune.
I think
I love the ground in Pune. Oh, I mean, and also we could do the bowl, whatever.
The GS Utilitas
I can't-
Rose.
I refuse to call Perth Stadium by whatever the sponsor is because we know it's going to change names 9 times. It's Perth Stadium, right? They should just call it the Bowl. Let's
Fine.
call it the Bowl. Those sort of stadiums, Pune, Nagpur is another one.
Do you know the problem with this event?
They're in the middle of nowhere,
know-
and Antigua's the same.
You know what the problem is?
Is it the big open?
No, you know what the real problem is with the Viv.
You like the other ground better?
That's the problem, right? It should just be at the Rec. I mean,
You couldn't have a test.
I
match
mean,
at
have
the
you,
Rec
you know?
anymore.
Well, you did in 2009. It was a good test.
Yeah.
Atherton's passionate. Atherton is passionate about the Rec. Got to play at the Rec. All the players want to play at the Rec.
But the problem is that it's unsafe. You would have to take it
Because
down.
there's no money.
Yeah.
There's no money to develop. We're
But you'd
getting
have to
back
take
to
it down and bring it
share
back
the
up again,
wealth.
wouldn't you?
Share
That's
the
the
wealth.
other problem with that ground.
It's right in the town.
Was
It's in
it-
St
Yeah.
John's.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. The other problem with that Seviv ground, it was essentially, it was about politics, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it was built because, I can't remember what to go into it.
No, but I think those grounds in the middle of nowhere, it's one thing that Australia gets really right. Like so many of their
That's
grounds.
why the Gabba's a problem.
Yeah.
I know it's not in the middle
Well,
of
to
nowhere,
be
but
fair,
it's a real
Wollongabba is better than the
Was
rest
it the
of the
hotel at the Viv Richards ground called Buddies? Was it you could stay at Buddies, but it was cash only?
Oh, was it?
Oh, crikey, yeah. You looked around, there were some right unsavoury characters knocking about. Just look ahead, don't look at them. I'm sure it was called Buddies.
Well, there was the other one, of course, the Stanford's one by the airport.
Airport,
Yeah.
lovely ground.
Sticky
Beautiful
Wicket.
ground.
Is that what it's called?
Sticky Wicket.
Well, that was the
That was the bar.
restaurant.
That was the bar.
That
That
the
was the bar.
yeah,
Sticky
yeah.
Wicket. Lovely
What was it
pool.
called?
Some of the South African grounds are a bit rough and ready, I reckon. I don't think they get enough.
Centurion.
No, that's
I
fine.
don't mind Centurion.
Centurion's fine.
But
It's good.
PE or Burqa, that's a ground that it's a nice place to watch cricket. I'm not sure it's a nice place to like be at a cricket ground, if that makes sense. Like it looks like a old-fashioned cricket ground,
Yeah,
but
it's
when
a
you
proper cricket ground.
but a lot of the stands are falling it down.
Got to
and-
be
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah, do you
Gotta
know what I
be
mean?
clean,
That's
yeah.
the kind of thing I'm
But
talking
it's
about.
got atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's got a roof.
But that's what I mean. It depends on where you're going because like Nagpur, actually Nagpur's not a great example, but Pune and the Bowl, they're really good facilities. But I don't, I don't care that they're good facilities because it's taken me an hour and a half to get there. And when I stumble out of the ground,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't find a bar to
Have you
drink
ever
in.
refused to commentate or write? It's not safe. Beef. Hamilton. They had 3 porter cabins stacked on top of each
Oh,
other.
yeah,
so
yeah.
if you remember, it was written media, radio, TV in 3 porter cabins. Beefy's looked at this. I ain't going up there. It's not safe. It's just not safe. Health and safety. These people are going to die. It's not. I'm not. And he didn't. So he sat down at the bottom with a bottle of Chardonnay all day and refused. He flatly refused. He won't go up. So then we play golf at Cape Kidnappers, which is a fantastic golf course, one of the great golf courses. And he hits this thing, and it's like a cliff. It's a sheer drop into the sea, hundreds of feet down into the sea. His ball's gone just over this. It's on the edge. You look down, and I'm not good with that, so I thought I ain't going there. he's got his leg over one side of it. He's got down here. I said, you won't go up. You would go up to that porter cabin, and he said, no. He said, well, when I'm up there, I didn't have my feet on the ground, did I? If he'd have rolled down there, it'd have been history. He'd have finished up on the rocks and the beach and everything, just to get to his golf ball.
So, the one, this is a very controversial one because it's very popular, but Gaul, I've had 2 of the worst experiences of my life covering test matches at Gaul. So we had to broadcast on the radio on the roof.
Yes.
And I cramp.
Yeah.
And the heat from that thing meant that I cramped basically 24 hours a day, didn't I? Like, I had to see the England team doctor to see what I could do.
More fluids.
The more water wasn't helping. It was one of the, I'd gone too far.
Yeah.
And the other time I remember is that they only clean the toilets out once a test, and I happened to be walking past when they were cleaning the toilets out.
You're watching Bumble and Kimber.
So,
got to be clean.
some of the conditions at Gaul, like Pellicali,
lovely.
what a ground.
Yeah.
That's a candy.
I really like Denbuller as well. Like, I spent a bit of time at Denbuller for a one-day series once. I really enjoyed that. But Gaul, I'm like, oh, great. I'm in a great city. I've got a great view. You know, the cricket's really entertaining.
I'm cramping
and I can smell poo.
So
do you know what I mean? Like, there is an element.
Gaul,
You should be
Sky
working
producer,
a tourist.
Sky producer at Gaul, he said, I've got a great idea for a pitch report. Do your pitch report. He says, there's a guy just up there on the fort. He's got a 10-foot python. You put this python round your neck and do a pitch report. I said, I've got a better idea. You do the pitch report with a 10-foot python. You go up the steps right at the top.
I know the guy. Yeah,
there you go. He's got a 10-foot python.
They've got a couple of different snakes and a monkey, I think, as well.
Plays a bit of a tune and up it comes.
Well, what about playing then? We're going to have to wrap up.
Yeah.
But in terms of playing, were there any grounds that you just hated playing at? Not because they were particularly fast or bouncy or whatever.
Just for the UK again, I have to say that Wantage Rome was a little bit challenging.
Why?
The home of cricket. Well, the sort of floorboards were all splintered, so you're getting splinters in your feet, and you couldn't really walk on it. It's far better now. It's a much better ground. It's lovely now, Wantage Road, but it was a bit of a challenge back in the day.
What about the fans?
Wantage Road.
Not at Wantage Road. About Yorkshire fans?
Oh, come on, brilliant. Call a spade a shovel.
And you're saying the worst fans?
Yeah.
No.
Well, mate,
Brilliant.
It's not saying you're really
Yorkshire
getting
fans.
cricket.
What about Adelaide? Half the ground is out the back getting hammered, and it
What
always
about
looks like
Lord's?
it's empty.
Lord's is the same.
Lord's is a bit like that, isn't it?
Lloyd's.
Oh, you know the ground I think has the worst fans, and you hate when I say this. It's the Oval.
No, it does not
No,
have the
It
no.
does, because for the first 3 days, they're only corporate people. So many of them don't have any interest in cricket at all.
Come on. Lloyd's is
disagree.
worse than that.
No,
Lloyd's.
I mean, I would put Lords in a similar bracket.
So the thing is, that from the top stand, the grandstand, the
When you're
party
at-
piece is to
When
not.
you're at the
not
Oval, everyone's in the ground watching the cricket. When
Yeah.
you're at
Yeah, I'll
Lord's,
give you
everyone's
that.
out the back of the nursery ground
give you
drinking
that.
champagne.
the party piece in the grandstand is to
All
get
those
champagne
gardens,
and knock the
terrace
cork off and throw it onto the
Yeah,
field.
exactly.
You get to the Western Terrace and start throwing cans of Tetleys on them, you get thrown out.
I don't disagree with that. But I still think the Oval has an issue.
No, it's
Agreed.
good at the Oval. Good at the Oval.
MCG was bad back in the day, and there's
It was great fun.
Hey?
Great fun, the MCG.
It was great fun, but you know, as we just talked about with the Western Terrace,
proper scraps. You got
well, not
proper
the West-
scraps.
Yeah, it was. You weren't sure what liquid was hitting you.
That Border Gavaskar Trophy, day 5, right? And everyone was like, yeah, I mean, amazing. And look, the numbers are astonishing of fans that turned up. But I wasn't there, but every single time the cameras panned to the crowd, there weren't people watching cricket.
Yeah.
There were Aussies just giving it to the Indian fans.
Yeah.
That was it.
I think that's always been an issue with the MCG. You usually only get it on Boxing Day or on for one days.
Yeah.
Whereas that series that went on that test went all the way through,
Yeah.
which is why we had great crowds.
And it was
all
a
the way
day 5 kind of like, you know, the gates are open and it's like, oh, let's go and watch.
Yeah.
And it's...
So, yeah, no, I think that's fair. I don't know if there's any...
There isn't really, is there?
Guyana's a really interesting crowd. I wouldn't say it's bad.
Actually,
but Guyana's
do you know
so
a ground?
passionate,
Do you know
aren't
a
they?
ground that I really enjoy being at, but it did get
Guyana's
really
not a
tasty?
good ground. Eh? What's the Guyana
Was
ground?
Border.
That's
Border.
not a good ground.
Queen's Park, Trinidad.
Yeah, that's
That,
it. I
that
mean,
was a tasty ground, and the fans were not
fans.
that well.
Yeah. I would say that and Guyana are very
Well,
similar.
you're right next to the savannah as well there at,
Yeah,
at
Queen's
Trinidad,
Park,
but
yeah,
it's
it's
a
lovely.
lovely ground,
I
a
play
beautiful
cricket.
ground to play on.
Oh, it's a
Beautiful
great.
ground.
It's a proper
Yeah,
Caribbean
lovely. Yeah,
cricket ground.
yeah.
That kind of ring
Yeah.
with the 2 tiers to all the stands.
Very
The-
nice.
The party stands is a genuine party stand rather than a manufactured one like at Barbados or whatever.
Sabina, Sabina,
Proper.
raw.
I was going to say Sabina.
Yeah.
Sabina and
I've
the
never
Gabba.
been there.
I reckon Sabina and the Gabba are the two that I don't know what it is about those two grounds or those two fan bases, but you can hear the abuse clearer.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you can, like the MCG, it's, I know the chants get quite big at the MCG,
Yeah.
but the individual abuse, you can kind of taste it at the
Yeah.
Gabba or Sabina Park. Like
There's,
those fans are just a bit more, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a rawness.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There's an intimidation and a kind of old step back into the past with it as well.
I've never, have you covered Bangladesh?
No.
You would have been.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've never been to Bangladesh. Those
Yeah.
fans look intense.
Yeah.
From TV, is that how it felt?
No, they were fine.
Yeah.
They were fine. Passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah, passionate. Yeah, I don't mind that. I
So
don't
worst
mind
ground in world cricket is?
The Wacker?
Worst ground in world cricket is?
One to draw.
that. One teacher.
The W's. The 2 W's as they're known.